Hey everybody, this is Joseph P. Farrell with news and views from the Nefarium. This is coming to you early, Thursday, February 16th, 2012, the year of the apocalypse. So far, so far no apocalypse, so we're fortunate. No comets, no asteroids have slammed into us. No deadly bursts of cosmic radiation from the galactic center, but of course, that alignment hasn't happened yet. All right. I have a couple of quick announcements. I am still hard at work on the sequel to Babylon's Banksters. I'm hoping, cross your fingers, I'm hoping to get that done sometime around June or July. Dr. DeHart and I are plotting out the next few ebooks. We have the idea for the second ebook more or less fleshed out. I'm simply waiting for our research material to arrive from Amazon, and then we'll get hard at work for that. Excuse me. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm suffering from a sinus, and there's an interesting article I want to talk about, but first I have been asked to comment about the Iron Sky movie about space Nazis surviving World War II, setting up bases in Antarctica from which they launched a flying saucer fleet, colonized the moon on a base called Schwarze Zone, or Black Sun, and coming back to Earth to invade the Earth. And a lot of you have expressed a desire for me to speak about this movie and your concerns that it might reflect poorly on my work. Well, first of all, I'm really not upset that they're making this movie. And I'll tell you why. I think we have to have a good sense of humor, and I think that's what this movie is. I think these guys are having fun, and more power to them. And secondly, the movie is not based on anything that I've researched or written about, because number one, I have never subscribed to the idea that the Nazis went to the moon during 1945-44. There is I won't mention the name of the researcher. He was rather well known back in the 90s for having promoted this story that was first circulated in neo-Nazi circles after the war, that yes, indeed, the Germans did get to the moon with their advanced flying saucer technology, and number two, they even mounted a suicide expedition, a one-way expedition to Mars with some Japanese officers in 1945 using their advanced flying saucer technology. Well, number one, I've never subscribed to either of those views. Number two, if you read my books very carefully, I have never subscribed to the idea that the Nazis built a research and manufacturing facility for these advanced flying saucers in Antarctica. I think they had some sort of base there, but certainly nothing like that, for various reasons that I outline in my book. So again, they're not making fun of anything that I've said or written. Number three, I've always insisted that the Nazi Bell story was a gateway technology, and I've never said that it was capable of UFO type of flight. In fact, I've pointed out that the stories basically have the thing levitating, and that's it. None of the advanced performance maneuvering capability that you hear or see associated with UFOs or anything like that. And then finally, in number four, in Saucers, Swastikas, and Psyops, I devote a whole chapter to demolish the idea that the Nazis came up with actual field propulsion flying saucers called Haunebu and Vril during the war. I just don't think that they did. This is a myth, a mythology that has been put out after the war by a certain narrow circle of what I would call neo-Nazis, and reliant upon some very dubious documents purporting to be the sketches and plans for these various craft. Well, if you look at the sketches and plans, they're just sideline drawings and so on and so forth. There's no provenance for these documents. So again, I don't think that these people are directly attacking me. Some of you pointed out that the Iron Sky movie has references to Dr. Kamler, And again, they don't have to read me to have come up with that name, because the think tank of SS General Hans Kammler has been known about since 1983, when a British journalist by the name of Tom Augustin first exposed the story about the Kammler staff inside of Czechoslovakia. So, I think it's a bit of fun. So take it in that respect. I don't think they're poking fun at me. I don't think they're poking fun at Igor Vitkovsky or even Nick Cook. And even if they are, so what? Let them have fun. Enjoy the movie. It's what I say. Anyway, on a serious side, I'm going to be linking this article to this news and views from the Nefarium. And I think it's very interesting. It's subtle, because this comes, pardon me, this comes from Iranian Press TV. Sunday, February 12th, I believe, was the date of this article. All right. And the article is entitled "Germany Warns Israel Against Iran Attack." And this was based on an interview given with Germany's defense minister, Thomas de Maziere. And he, I think, is a relative, perhaps a son or a nephew, of one of West Germany's post-war chiefs of the Bundeswehr, a fellow by the name of Ulrich de Maziere. And Ulrich de Maziere was one of Germany's generals during World War II. So this current defense minister, German defense minister, may have some long-standing relationship with a family that has been involved with German defense affairs for a long time. But anyway, Thomas de Maziere spoke in an interview last weekend on Saturday with the Frankfurter Allgemeinen Sonntagszeitung, which is the Frankfurter Sunday Times, basically, you might say. And the German defense minister warned the Israelis against ramping up the war hysteria, and cautioned the Israeli regime against, quote, obvious political damages, unquote, should it venture on an attack on Iran. Folks, this is very significant, because I've been commenting for some time that we're seeing very subtle fissures within the Atlantic Alliance. And I've suggested on many of these news and views from the Nefarium that you're going to see Germany increasingly taking a geopolitical stance that is not always going to be in harmony with the dictates coming out of the City of London and Washington, D.C. In other words, what I'm saying here is Germany isn't telling Israel so much, or warning Israel so much, about military adventurism in Iran. What Germany is doing is using Israel as a cat's paw, as a way of sending a message to Washington, D.C., that attacks against Iran are not going to be supported by Germany. All right? This is another clue, in my opinion, that we're seeing Germany move more and more toward a closer relationship with Russia vis-a-vis European and political affairs. In other words, if you were to take the German defense minister's remarks and put them in the context of a Russian defense minister making the same remarks, you get the idea. In other words, we're listening to something now, or watching something that's showing very subtle shifts within the balance of power within Europe. And the balance of power is shifting because Germany is simply not following all the dictates coming out of the City of London and Washington, D.C. So I think this was a very, very significant thing for the German defense minister to do. Anyway, that's it for my news and views from the Nefarium for Thursday, February 16th. I'm sorry about the sinus problems, folks. As you know, I've been kind of struggling with this off and on for the past few months, and it's at times taken me down, but I appreciate everybody's prayers and thoughts I certainly want to thank all of you that are supporting the website with your memberships and your donations, because they're really appreciated right now. You can see the stack of books back here behind me on the table for the sequel for Babylon's Banksters. It's been an expensive book to research, so I want to make sure and thank all of you for donations supporting that research as well. Anyway, God bless everybody, and see you all on the flip side. Bye.